Hi Tappers! Today we are going to discuss something that is a hot topic, from rom-com movies to countless songs and even a key point of survival. The topic is change, or rather, how does change happen? Why does change sometimes happen and sometimes not? Why do some people seem to thrive on it while others stay stuck? There is so much confusion surrounding the pathway of change, and it's so emotionally connected, I felt it was worth a few minutes of our undivided attention together. So let's dive in. First, let's define change. When Googled, the first definition offered is more synonyms than a definition: to modify or alter. The second offering is to replace something with something else, especially something of the same kind that is newer or better. Substitute one thing for another, okay? And finally, as a noun, we are told it's the act or instance of making or becoming different. Does that feel clear to you? Or does it feel incomplete? If that still doesn't feel like that covered what change is, I have a theory. I believe it's because we, somewhere along the way, decided to tie in another definition. That is actually the next step, outcome, which is, by definition, the way a thing turns out. When we say to someone, "You've changed," we are typically commenting on their outcome, the result of their change. So the value of the word change is very muddy because unless we tie it to an outcome, we typically don't know how to qualify it. For example, if I were to say to you, "My favorite color is blue," "No, I changed my mind," you would likely ask, "Okay, so what's your favorite color?" And if I replied, "Well, I don't know yet," that's not really a comfortable place to end that discussion. A typical response to that might be, "So it's blue because you really haven't changed it yet." Or, "So then you don't even have a favorite color because you can't tell me." Now, this sounds silly with the value that I chose of favorite color, but what I'm attempting to illuminate is that we rush through the unknown value of change and we really want to get to that outcome. Why? It's an uncomfortable place to be in the middle. Why? Well, there are a lot of answers that can be valid here, so I'm going to blanket statement it and say it's because it's generally unacceptable socially to be in limbo. Saying to someone, "I don't know who I am," isn't considered thrilling or admirable. It's considered to be vulnerable and possibly mentally disrupted. So, if we are looking down the barrel at change, there is a deeply ingrained desire to cling to a definitive outcome, the old one, or a predetermined one that we know that we're reaching for. We have very little tolerance for much else. And if the predetermined outcome turns out to be overwhelming, we tend to snap back to the old one. Now, if we are charging into the unknown with no predetermination, it is typically because the known has become so consumingly painful that anything else will do. And it's not an empowered choice so much as fleeing. So, where am I going with all of this? It isn't really helpful to say, well, change is when there are unknown factors and no conclusions, so ta-da, see you later. No one feels better yet about change with that. And unfortunately, I can't help you resolve why change is uncomfortable for you in this video because it's highly likely very particular to you. I can, however, offer up a tool that I was given by a wise friend of mine that makes change feel so much more manageable. So, pick one thing that you want to change. One outcome, not all of the steps, not all of the blocks, not how much you believe it can actually happen, just one shift and what that outcome, what that end zone looks like. So I'll pick something that I'm told is super hard to quit smoking. Now, whatever you choose, just answer the questions I say. You don't have to use this example if it doesn't apply to you, just adjust it to fit for you. So how long do you think it will take you to accomplish what you've picked? Truly, no miracle timeline here. I mean, in reality. So I'm going to say 2 years for stopping to smoke. So now take your answer and cut that time in half. So now in order to reach that goal in 2 years, I have to be at 50% in a year. So how will I know I'm at 50%? So I'm going to set a milestone here. Maybe I'm only smoking in the evenings at that time, or maybe 1/3 of my daily amount by then. I don't smoke, so if this doesn't make sense, I'm sorry. So now cut that timeline in half again. Now it's 6 months and 25% complete of my goal. So what does 25% of quitting look like? In 6 months, I'll have 2 other activities that I can do that will help me cope and to try and do that before I reach for a cigarette. Now half it again, 12% of quitting 3 months from now. Okay, in 3 months, I'll have a list of the coping activities that I'd like to try to see which 2 I'm going to pick. 6% at 6 weeks. What does 6% of quitting smoking look like? And I have 6 weeks to reach that goal. I'll keep a journal that's keeping track of my progress and how I'm feeling so I can be present and aware during this process. And I will also make a list of people that I can call for support if I need some help. I will tell them my intentions and ask if they can be someone I can reach out to. And the final cut is, what does 3% look like to complete in 3 weeks from now? I will come up with positive statements and pictures that make me feel happy and confident to begin this journey, and I'm going to put them all over my house. So now I've gone from the highly overwhelming and ubiquitous task of quitting smoking to the very doable and maybe even enjoyable task of having 3 weeks to select pictures and sayings that make me feel good to put up all over my house. Suddenly, even though change is still the intention, my swings into the unknown are very incremental and they don't feel as risky or threatening. Also, I've set up milestones for me to feel really good about myself as I go and build up my confidence that I can do this and demonstrate to myself that my investment into this change, which at some point will lead to me saying, I have put too much into this to stop now. That's psychology. This also gives you a great pathway for tapping on your chosen change and not get overwhelmed by, well, where do I start? Where's the beginning? How do I approach this all at the same time? You start with your 3%. So I know this is a huge topic and we've touched the tip of a hair of it here, but I hope that this supplemental tool that I've given you will help you feel more comfortable with change and that it was insightful to help you master change in your life. I'll see you soon.